Hello everybody, I'm here today to show my Rock Your Journal. Carol Tinson of Crafty Emporium Design ran this project throughout February, giving us one prompt each day, and we did our interpretation of each thing. It was, I have to say, very popular, great fun, and I hope you like looking through this with me. It did turn into quite a chunky journal. It started off as, for the ladies in UK, one of the A5 exercise books from Hobbycraft, but I had to add some other pages in. I think I must have taken some out previously for previous jobs, so I did finish up with more than the 28 days required for February, but anyway, I've managed to fill them up. So without more ado, let's get going. So as it turned out quite chunky, you'll see when I actually open, I couldn't put fastenings on the front, so I improvised and actually made this little cover for it. So right, without more ado, let's open up. So as you can see, it's easily undo that, and this was actually a piece that I punched the edges, joined on the ribbon. You can see that, sorry it's not very good filming, and then I did just wrap that round there and tied it closed there, which kept it all together nicely. As you can see, it's quite bouncy. I used Stamperia, I think it was coffee and lace or something, I can't remember exactly what it was called, but it was a Stamperia paper I used for this, and I glued on 2 little doilies and then put a button in the centre. Lace along the bottom all the way around. Didn't think it needed much else because it's a pretty paper anyway. So okay, let's have a look. So instead of doing the prompts as Carol did, I decided to do them in a waterfall effect. Each day we wrote down what the prompt was and wrote the number at the bottom, the date at the bottom. The first page was supposed to be sort of saying which was your favourite page and your worst page, etc, etc, but as mine was a short page, it made it a bit difficult, so I've actually finished up doing that at the back, and I decided then to just put the title of this project on the front there, Rock Your Journal. This is one of the butterflies from one of Carol's kits, which you can find in Etsy if you're interested. So this page was altered book poetry. I think that sort of is open to interpretation, and many of us didn't actually do poetry. It just became an altered piece of writing. Right, so what I did here was I've taken a page from the Railway Children, hence the picture of the railway down here, and I did that on a flip up piece, so I can actually write more or do whatever underneath there, and the story that I made out of it I've written on this piece here. I won't read all that out now because you'll be here sometime. Carol actually did butterflies, I believe, on the edge of her pages. I decided to actually do the numbers on the edges. One of the things about this was that it's supposed to be based on a kind of a Wreck Your Journal or one of those where, so the numbers we did in a random way. So if you see the numbers not corresponding to the pages, then that's why, and if you care to look at Carol's introduction video on YouTube, it will tell you all about it. The next one was a Mosaic Page. This did give me a bit of a headache, but I got there in the end, and I actually used Tim Holt's scissors dies for this, and then did mosaic on here. This is handmade paper, and then also did some stamping and a bit of dabbing with colour in the background. To fill up this page, I just printed this off of Pinterest, and I may get around to doing that sometime. I can't say it's one of my favourite things, but I may decide to fill that one in as well one day. The next one was cook your favourite recipe. Again, not so much my favourite recipe as one that I've just taken the last of our Christmas cake out of the freezer, which has got a bit bashed about, as you can see. But anyway, it was a nice recipe. And I've put obviously all the details here. And this little card, when I was going through, turned up, which I thought was very sweet. So again, that just flips up, and you can read the rest of the item underneath there. This was the colour your page, or colouring pages. I did actually for a long time, and I've still got a lot of pictures that I haven't got round to colouring in. I did a course with Kit and Clouder, which is like a tutorial I did monthly, and this was one of my pages that I coloured in. This one is the Ephemera and the story. Sorry, my eyes are not so good and I can't remember what every page is now. Ephemera and the story, and this was obviously a very important day for us when our little granddaughter was born. She was a miracle baby. We didn't expect my son to have children, and she really did turn out to be a real miracle. So that was that one. I got little Punch's little feet there I've had for ages. I thought that was appropriate. Bit of stamping. Next one was the Spirelli. Spirelli and a saying. And I like this one. Again, this is a stamp I've had for some time. She scribbled her dreams onto little pieces of paper, which she made into butterflies and set them free. I'm just an old romantic at heart, aren't I? These Spirelli pieces here. This I've actually classed as my favourite page. This was the button tree. It was a toss-up between two die cuts that I'd got and pieces, and you'll see the other piece later, but I decided on this one. The die cuts are actually the large pieces in the front here, the large trunks. The background is, it's probably a bit of a job to see, but the background is stamped and heat embossed in gold. That shows a little bit more there now. And the tree, the little one, I put the tiny buttons on and some stickles, but you can't, it's not showing up obviously, but that under the light this glistens. And I was pleased with the way that came together. You know, some pages just come easier than others. I've also done some stenciling here just to fill in the blank pieces and a little bit of stamping. This was the inches and twinches. I have to say I've cheated on this, as you can see. When I came to do it, I found these stickers that I've had for a long time, and with Easter coming up, I decided I would bit of artistic license here, and did my own, not inches and twinches, but whatever size these are. Again, another stamp I've got. This was a little punch I cut in half. Pieces of lace on the bottom. This one was the punches, stencils and die cuts. So obviously the stenciling is in the background, punching on the edge, and some of these other little pieces. The others were the die cuts, the steampunk effect, which I did in white or black. This was on black card, and then I coloured up with some gold. These were on white card, and I've coloured up with Tim Holtz colours. I did this extra little piece on here because this was a little bit fragile, this edge. This page was had a sort out where we were going through a corner that we don't normally go to and finding things that we've forgotten, long forgotten. And these were, I've had these, goodness knows how many years this turned up. And I decided to use them on here. The little card and the figures are Tim Holtz, which are obviously more modern, but they fitted in the colouring, I thought, rather nicely. This one I went way out. I know some of us have had fun with this one. This was Old to the Picture. It started off with a picture of, is it Fonzie? Apologies if that's wrong, I think it was Fonzie Bear. And I decided to remove that part. I don't want to say what it is. Right, so I removed that there, and then I found this picture in a magazine which fitted in there perfectly, so I put that one on there. This was a die cut, not a die cut, sorry, a just a piece that I'd got in my stash. And this was a sticker that I found, and I thought that all kind of rather cookie, but it went together rather well. And also the piece in the magazine said tweakments, know what's right for you. Obviously the legs and everything, so well, it made me laugh. This was the hopes, where are we? Goals, hopes and dreams. I have to say, you know, I've been pretty lucky, and I've haven't got too many goals now. You know, I'm in a lucky position. So anyway, I'll stop rambling, and I just decided to use some stamps and a Dreamcatcher die cut that I'd got on that page. This one was Stamp Your Page, and these are all stamps that I've got, which I obviously did in different coloured ink pads, and then I added some actual postage stamps in the appropriate colours I thought that went with the pictures. A little bit of colouring in I did on the dragonfly and the butterfly. The edges of the pages also we were told to do differently, so some have got stickers, some are punched, etc, etc. That's that one. Now on this one was 5 things you like about yourself and reflections, and this was one I think a lot of us found pretty tough, particularly in the UK, and I know we're not the only ones, but here we kind of brought up, especially amongst the older ones of us, to be pretty kind of humble and not talk about ourselves, not blow our own trumpet, as it were. You know, but after a few sort of ideas from Carol, it came together. But anyway, I decided to do this as a reflection, which is a stamp, and then I did the reverse of it there, bit of colouring in. And then as the reflections, I thought things, you know, you do learn as you go along, and these were kind of reflections, you know, things you've picked up and looked back and remembered. And again, I won't read all those out, but you can always pause it and read if you're interested. So I did these as the 3 flaps there, and on these are the things I eventually managed to find that I like about myself. Sense of humour hopefully is coming through on this. Friends that I've made, kindness, I like to help, I do like to help if possible, wherever possible. Determination, and I've certainly needed that on some of these things here. You have to stick with them and try and win, as it were. And company, I like my own company, always have done. So on to the weaving. This is the weaving. Now I decided to do these colours so it toned in with this side, but they were actually rather pale and didn't show up that well, but you know, it's there, I did it, and this one certainly does show up more. Onto the middle page, and this was other crafts. What was it? Other crafts I do. I don't do them now, but I used to do wedding cakes, make all the flowers for them, the sugar flowers, and also the flowers I used to make in cold porcelain, which are these here, which obviously last longer, and I've still got some of these in our loft. Mixed media. These are all metal and coloured. People, ladies, those of you that do this will know what it's all about. Obviously the Sprelli I'd already done before we had the prompt for that. So that was that one. And on these pages I've done the ribbon weaving down the side. These I've just drawn little flowers in there to match up. This was the It's All White. Looking through, I found these white feathers that I've had for so long, so I thought that would be appropriate to use those for that one. And then I came across this little piece of knitting, which would be ideal for a baby's card or whatever, but I thought went nicely. These were die cuts I'd already got there, and then these tiny little roses with a piece of ribbon. So that was my all white page. This one was obviously blank. I didn't really want to do a double one, so these are actually individual stickers, but when I got the thing and cut it, actually it looks quite nice, just like that. Fills up the page. These have lace down there, and they are kind of white or mostly white. Onto this one, which is one of my two least favourite, I think. This was Invite a Celebrity to Dinner. Again, I had a bit of a problem knowing who to use for this until people started suggesting, and then of course there's hundreds you can use. But anyway, I finished up with Beatrix Potter because I like her and I like her story and the legacy she's left. And these are some of the books she's written. I'm sure we're all familiar with Beatrix. You've probably seen the film Miss Potter. And this is just a little invitation. I mean, I just put that little piece down there. Dear Beatrix, please join me for dinner, which is very basic, and some of you ladies have done wonderful invitations with a menu, and I want to do this standing up. Yes, wonderful with menus and everything else. So I think I could have done a lot more with these 2 pages. It was kind of a cop out on this one. I should have spent more time, I think. I did think about doing a menu with rabbit, and I thought, no. Again, my quirky sense of humour thought, no, that's really not quite on, is it? Okay, so then the one I have actually said is my least favourite, which is Zentangle, and I'm definitely not a Zentangle fan, which is why I finished up doing these, because I cheated on the inches and twinches. I decided I would take these 2-inch squares that I'd got anyway, and just do some very, very basic ones. Again, there's been some beautiful contributions, which I admire greatly, but it's not me. And I think one lady hit the nail on the head when she said it's all right if you like repetition, and that may be my problem. I tend to want to keep moving on and getting things done, and to sit and, which is the whole point of Zentangle really, to sit and take your time and be calm and enjoy it. So that's obviously something I have a problem with, probably something I need to work on. But anyway, that was my contribution for that. This one was Make a Library. This one I finished up doing the spines of all these books, which Carol has got again in her Etsy shop. Little books that make up into little books, but I just took the spine pieces, cut these out, put all the spines along there. This is a stamp I'd got, the child reading a book, and then this little bookworm I found on Pinterest. I cut him out and put him on there. This one is A Letter to Your Future Self. I have to admit, this one, when you're getting on in years, you don't know how much future self you've got left. And although I probably shouldn't say that, you do sort of realise you're moving up the ladder. And anyway, I had enough of me. This was, I had this in my stash, and I've actually done this magnetised. I've just put magnets under there. So again, if I want to write under there, I can. And that just clips back onto that one. And I have done a letter to my future self, which I won't show you, but it does kind of, yes, it makes you realise, certain things when you're thinking some of these projects. This is actually an old letter, nothing personal to me, but I found it. This was 1929, and I wanted something to fill up on this page, so I just thought that was appropriate, a letter to put on that one. That little envelope does open. There's nothing in there, I don't think, at the present, but you could put something in there if I wanted to. And this was one, as I say, I did some time ago. Has a bit of ruffled material there. These, I think, were stickers, which a lot of us had from years ago. Was it K & Company or something like that? Okay, this one is Make a Picture Frame, Stamp or Doodle, and Add a Photo. Again, I was quite happy with the one. This came together quite nicely. This is an actual, I won't try and take it out because I should be fumbling about again, but this is an actual postcard in here. I cut the frame and the middle from it with die cuts. These are obviously all stamps that I have. This was another punch down the edge. More stamps. This is a little strip of film, the acetate film. I think. Yes, all the rest of them were stamps that I've got, and that's another little strip of the acetate one. And obviously I used vintage photo on a lot of these. That one says, life is like photography, we develop from the negatives. Something we need to remember sometimes, I think. This one is make it and add it, and this, no, that's not all of it, is it? It's follow a YouTube tutorial, make it and add it. And this was one of Carol's YouTube tutorials where she made these flowers from circles. Not much more I can say about that one really, but I'll put them there. I did that little one in the middle there, just part of one to make that tiny one, which I thought looked more like a bud. And some little punch-out flowers in between there. This was the other die cut. I was umming and ahhing about whether to use this for the button tree. As I decided to use the other one, this one I thought I would use for Create a Garden. This is a die cut down the bottom here, little butterflies which I've punched out, and a little rabbit there and one there. This is a stamp again. I've got this like faux stitching as a stamp I've used around the edge. The birds are die cut, and then I've done again stickles. It won't show up I don't think in this light, but I've done stickles in the middle of the little flowers and coloured the trunk and pieces, well, coloured all of it in. I cut that out in white and coloured in. Little girl on the swing there. This one I love again, the romantic in me. I came across this, The Legend of the Pussy Willow. I thought this was rather cute, and again I won't read it all out because it's just too much for you, but if you want to pause it and read it, it's very cute, and you'll see why the little cats or kittens are all hanging onto the branches of the Pussy Willow. This was Love Is, and on this one I decided to die cut hearts, and then write things in that I think love is, to me anyway, you know, things like family, sharing, helping, all things you do with love. And this little stamp I've got here. This one I strung on the baker's twine across the top. This was Make a Backward Crossword, where you, yes, you just had to make a backward crossword. Not much more I can say about that, is there? Got my husband to draw up a grid for me, and it's quite fun. It was quite fun making up the clues and filling them in, and so you actually filled in the crossword first and then made up the clues for it. A little tab on the end there, lots of stamping on here as you can see to fill up. Bees, and this was kind of based on nature, which is why I've put bees and butterflies and all these sort of things here. One or two bits, I'm not sure whether I finished up, not entirely nature, but I think most of them are. This one was Make Butterflies Fly. Again, I thought about using acetate to raise them up and all the rest of it, but anyway, I finished up just putting them on raised foam, a thicker foam underneath, so they are raised up off of the page. Some are nearer to landing than others, but that was that one, and then I just did some punching of small ones in different colours in between. These were all stamps that I cut out. Sorry, I'm fumbling over words this morning. I've not done one of these for a long time. It's surprising you lose the knack of it. This was some more of those stickers, like I used the sheet on the other one. This one I've actually just taken some of the stickers off, plus some other ones with the, and this says bugs, again I'm going to need to, bugs and things with legs and wings. So I thought all these little things kind of matched in with the nature theme as well, with the butterfly ribbon down the edge. So on to the last page, and this was the one that should have been the first page, where I said what I like, don't like, who did the project, who gave the inspiration, which obviously was Carol. I put some stickers on there to give that, make it pretty. And then this was a spare page or a blank page again, so I just decided, I'd got these in my stash, I thought the colours went very nicely with that one, so I just decided to make a little picture page of that one. So there we are. That's sorry, I fumbled through that a bit, but I hope you're still with me and I hope you got some idea from some of it. It was, as I say, a very popular project to do, and Carol will be doing another one in April, so I think we're all looking forward to doing that one again. Thanks for joining me. Bye for now.